Hey class, it's Mr. Archer again, and today we're going to be looking at the beauty of culture in the global book of Beetles and Angels. Now this is going to play out a little bit differently in the sense that I'm not going to be reading it to you so much as I am going to be reviewing the book and trying my best to convince you to read it for yourself. Up front, I'm going to let you know I was not able to physically read the book either. Instead, I found an audio version of it on YouTube, and I will link that in the description. So this is going to be an experience. Starting us off, here is the book itself, or the cover page at least. It is written by Mawi Asgedom, and it is a memoir, so to speak, of his time leaving his homeland and growing up in America. So, I'll start us off with a brief summary and then we'll start getting into the book itself and how it actually deals with culture, because it deals with culture in a lot of ways. So, Of Beetles and Angels, a book by Mawi Asgedom, tells the story of an immigrant traveling to America from a refugee camp in Sudan after fleeing from the civil war in their homeland. In this vast new world, Maui learns just how different things are in America compared to how they were back at home. Even simple things such as bathing. He and his brother learn new traditions such as Halloween and begin to adapt to the American ways in every way they can. Maui goes as far as excelling in school and making it all the way to Harvard, which is huge. He does this because on top of his academic excellence, he is genuinely a kindred spirit and treats everybody around him as angels rather than beetles, like his classmates. That is pretty much the main theme of the book. Treat others the way you got to be treated. Alright, so, as I said, there are several ways in which the book connects to culture. The first and foremost way is that it deals very heavily with immigration and the struggles of adapting to America. The book also offers insights into Mali's own culture and how he and his family learned to adapt to our American cultures. One such adaptation is Halloween, which is very similar to the Haversa tradition known as Hoya Hoya, which, after reading it, I think the easiest way I can describe it is literally it is Halloween, but not. The children get to light, light sticks and make torches, and they will travel from house to house chanting Hoya Hoya, which there is a full chant for it, but basically it meant this is the new year, things will be better now. Something along those lines. It is also the day in which bullies and evils of the world will not strike them. They are completely safe from harm on this day. Much like Hoya Hoya, they run from house to house and brought flowers to the adults. Instead of Hoya Hoya, they chanted trick or treat. Instead of fire, they flouted vampires, witches, and all of those creatures. Back in Sudan, our village could not afford gifts, but in this country, they gladly showered candy, food, and even money on its practitioner. Halloween had become the kids' favorite holiday, to the point where they would actually start taking advantage of it and stealing other kids' candies. So now let's look at a deeper dive into Mawi's family. So Mawi and his siblings they had it pretty rough in the sense that they were seriously disciplined, like to the point where even if they made the slightest error, their dad would quote unquote make them lost, which, to be honest with you, I don't know what that means entirely, but considering how religious they were, I would assume it meant that these guys are going to literally make them lost or make them lose their way with God, or something along those lines. But the real reason behind him disciplining his children like this is that he was trying to build them into amazing people that can help them build character. So here I put the quote, if you love your children and you want them to become good people, discipline them now before it's too late. Additionally, there is also a various terms throughout the book that allude to different phases and events, and these are crucial to the development of the characters. To be honest with you, I'm afraid of butchering these terms, so I'm not even going to try to pronounce them. But the first one means developing the heart, and that is very prominent in the book, because Mawi's brother has to develop a heart towards the middle of the story. And the second one means may God give you. Building over that, Caleb, Mawi's father, wanted his children to learn above all to treat people like angels as opposed to beetles. This basically meant to treat people the way we would if a kid. This is something that Mawi's classmates failed to do in school, and it resulted in Mawi becoming the class president. People always mistreated the angels, my father said, because the angels never looked like angels. They were always disguised as the lowliest of beetles, beggars, vagrants, and misfits. I was actually able to find the chapter and page for that one. So now let's look at the school and discrimination where things really started taking a turn for the worse for him. Well, Mawi was a typically good student. His school life was pretty difficult. We are poor and black, and we cannot buy all of the resources that other parents can. But if you have enough desire to outwork all the other students and never give up, you might win the race one day. That was what his father told him, and sadly I think that's still around today, but especially with children dealing with poverty, some of them do not have access to the amount of resources that one typically would without poverty. But because his family was poor and still adapting to the U.S., Mawi had a rather difficult time making friends. It had gotten to the point where other members of his race and community rejected him and refused to associate with him. So there was one part of the story where Mawi wanted to make friends with another kid who was from Africa, but the kid refused to associate with him because he was an immigrant, because he was still learning the American ways and he was poor and dirty, and they would pick on him, and he learned to fight back with his brother. So, of course, sticks and stones break bones, but words can do so much worse. But because of all these things, Maui kind of learned to overcome these problems and work even harder at school. And that is how he became the highest of his class and got into Harvard. But outside of, on a social level, because of this, Maui does not view his friends with the same social class, school structure norms that his classmates do. He tends to treat everybody with care and respect, and even goes as far as keeping away from the popular kids in favor of kids who are kind of like him and aren't as popular. So now comes the review, so to speak. Are these issues still around the way? I think they are. We still see a lot of immigration in today's time, with people struggling to find jobs and support for their families. I think discrimination is also a huge problem that still exists. But the way that the author actually goes about presenting these themes is a really good one. Like, it's a really powerful and impactful way that he does it. Because like, by presenting these problems, immigration, he struggles to adapt to America, and the fact that he's being picked on at school, and then going as far as showing the ways in which he overcame these problems, how he finally did adapt to American cultures and finally learned to speak fluent English by reading, how he made the track team and the basketball team in high school. All these things really just shows that people can look past all these problems and they can look past differences. And that brings us back to the overarching theme of treating people like angels rather than beetles. That is pretty much it as far as my brief little presentation goes. But the book itself is a really fascinating read, especially if you, like me, really like learning about culture and members of other cultures and communities. And I would strongly recommend, going back and reading it. Like I said, I will include the link to the video itself in the description of this video. I will suggest though that you mess around with the playback speed because the reader or the voice reading the story is very slow. So if you play it at 1.75 or 1.5, it does sound a lot more fluent and easy to follow. But other than that, that's all.